BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable, BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your rewards. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Iron Butterfly podcast. I'm your host, Polina Edmonds, and today's episode, I'm going to be recapping Worlds. And we're going to start off with the women's event. It was such an electric event in Boston. All of the events were, but man, the ladies just skated so well. And I'm so excited to introduce my special guest for this portion for the women's recap. I am going to be speaking with Nicole Bobek. She is the 1995 national champion, 1995 world bronze medalist, and she competed at the Olympic Games in 1998 in Nagano. Nicole, I'm so happy to get to talk about skating with you.
Me too. I'm very excited to talk about this.
Oh, well, being there in person, it was just incredible. I was able to be there typing away on my computer, watching everything with an analytical view, and just talking to people there after the events. And Nicole, you have been watching on your TV. You were sending me pictures. I love it. And so what was your perspective of watching Worlds um, from the beauty and comfort of your living room, but seeing how crazy the arena was?
Well, it was actually from my bed with a glass of wine, and I have to say, I will be
Love it.
honest, um, very much more relaxed than how I would usually be. But it was such a amazing event. I mean, period. Worlds is such a big thing for the skaters to do because it scrapes the surface of the closest thing that you can get to Olympics. So the fact that it was in Boston, seeing a complete full audience, and I love the fans. I mean, I've never seen so much support for so many different skaters. It didn't matter where you were from. They saw the struggle, they would start to cheer to hype them back up. I mean, I don't think skaters are going to experience this anywhere else in the world, really, honestly. It really, I wasn't there, but watching it, it really came through on the TV, which is incredible to feel that energy level and the support and the love from the audience. And it was just an incredible event, really.
Yeah, it was so funny when I was there. I was texting my family because I thought, they've been to so many skating events over the years with me competing, but this was the type of event that I think that it would have been so beautiful for them to see firsthand in person too. And I'm texting my mom, I'm like, you would have loved this. And she's like, girl, I'm crying at home watching
Yeah,
how beautiful
yeah,
it is coming
yeah.
through the screen.
I I
Yeah,
literally was taking notes, and I think by the end I just threw the book like, this is it. Let's
exactly.
see what happens after this, because I don't think, especially for the international skaters, to see that support and that love is really overwhelming. I think the closest that comes to it is maybe a Canadian audience, because Canadians are so familiar with skating and hockey's in their blood, and so they get a little bit more into it. But I mean, man, Boston just rocked. So I have
Yeah,
to give that to the fans. Thank you for that.
totally.
Yes.
All right, well, jumping into the women, we'll just start right at the top with our world champion, Alysa Liu, clinching the gold. She was on her comeback. She hasn't competed since 2022. In 2022, she
This
was
is
the
my
world bronze
note.
medalist.
This is my notes on Alyssa Liu. That's all I have for her. I mean, you're talking about somebody who just completely turned figure skating upside down with her whole reverse psychology going into an event with no fear and this aloof. attitude. I mean, it's just extreme. It totally changes so many different things on sports psychology of how to go into an event. And we all have that perspective of you do what works for you. But now it's like she showed a totally different way of approaching it. And I wonder if skaters are going to grasp onto that of, well, I'm just going to try to go that way. Maybe it's going to work for them, maybe it won't. I think some people do need to feel a certain amount of pressure. I mean, you're at Worlds in Boston in United States. I always think of Worlds being like in Europe somewhere. So already there, it's like you have your different kind of pressure that you're in your homeland, so it's so crazy. And yeah, I mean, nobody could, she was like Ilian in her own world, in her own element. And it was incredible to watch. And you kind of just sat back and like, what did I just watch? How did that just happen? And I think just her angelicness of the freeness, people connect it to it. People feel that. I mean, it's hard when you watch skaters really go through it. It's hard, especially being a skater. You know that feeling so well. And, all
Yeah.
this, I know so much of what they go through out there. And you have your good days and your bad days. But Alyssa Liu just, she just threw the book at everybody. Literally.
She's a funny one because she has this kind of nonchalant attitude. She's not taking it super seriously, in the way that she just portrays her energy, which
Mhm.
works so well for her to be able to zone in the moment when she needs to on the ice, but beforehand not overdo that stress.
Right.
And it works out beautifully for her. And, not everyone is like that. Some people really need the focus. They really need that tiger attitude.
Mhm.
Like I know when I competed, I absolutely just needed to lock in about an hour before the event. I got very quiet. I wasn't chatty or sassy anymore. My coaches knew kind of not to talk to me and just leave me alone in my own head.
Yeah.
And then you see Alyssa come out and just do a cartwheel, before the short program warm up because she's
Cartwheels,
like, oh yeah, why not?
taking selfies, doing cartwheels. And I mean, I didn't talk to anybody before I went on the ice.
Yeah, yeah,
I know
exactly.
Michelle was the same way. I mean, you couldn't even come close to her. She'd be like, back off,
Hmm.
like in the zone, in the zone. And it's so
Hmm.
crazy because, you know, I remember Dick Button always talking about she's really focused and she needs to focus more and things like this. I would have loved to hear what he would say right now. Like,
Well, and you can't really dispute it because she skated so well. She skated two clean programs at Worlds when the
yeah.
pressure was on.
And
So in that way,
she
it
even
worked for
said
her.
like, oh, it was like my best run through. I'm like, a run
Yeah.
through. Like you literally just skated at Worlds. Like, how is that even a run through? Like, seriously. So it's really interesting the approach and where this, psychological fact is gonna come into skaters. I mean, you know, we do feel a certain responsibility and an intense psychological that we get nervous because we want to do so well out there.
Hmm.
And we want to skate our best. And we really don't know what will happen exactly at that moment. And here's somebody who just completely did the opposite. So, I
Hmm.
mean, hats off. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
I just
impressive. And I
like
think I think it's
that.
important for people to also remember, if you look at her track record for skating, if you look at what she's done
Yeah.
this season as well as the seasons prior before she took her hiatus, going to UCLA for a year and being a student, she was very consistent always. She's always been able to land on her feet at the very least.
Yeah.
Yes, I think for her, technical mistakes, they don't come from the mental. They usually come from more of like under rotations here and there. So for her, to land everything is very routine for her. So I really wasn't nervous watching her, not the way that you watch other
Right.
skaters and you're just really hoping they have it
Right.
together and they're going to skate well.
Yeah.
I knew that she was going to skate well, but it was the whether or not she was going to get completely all the way around on everything is the questionable part. And
Right.
she did definitely, I think, better than she has all season at Worlds. If you watch the slow motion replays, of course, there are definitely a couple unders in both of her programs, but like most of the fields had the same. So in that way, when you kind of lay them all out against each other, like she definitely came out on top with how solid both of her programs were and just the energy that she brought in terms of um, that happy-go-lucky,
Yeah,
vibe. Like the crowd
all
was
about it's
so into it. Yeah.
all about the attitude that she had carrying into it. And
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the point system. I didn't grow skate basically during that era. So I'm watching it. I don't even literally look at the points. It's really not even important to me. I'm looking at the overall skater. So I'm watching it with much older eyes and which I enjoy because it's kind of my roots of skating a little bit. I know I have to get on board with the new system, but I still will look at the overall package of everything. And
Yeah.
she skated absolutely clean. There
Yeah.
didn't have this whole under rotation thing going on. I don't even know. Like, I want to go back and watch my old tapes to see if I ever did that because I don't think I did. Or even if I did, it was never pointed out or anything like
hmm
that. It's very strange for me. So, hats
Yeah.
off to her. I'm very proud of her. So
It's good. It's good.
I'm
You
really
give the
proud.
vibes, Nicole, and I'll give the technical analysis from the slump.
Yeah, no, I mean, all the skaters, they really, Alyssa came with attitude. Then you had your attack skaters who really attacked the performances. And then you had I didn't find anybody really played it safe, I have to say.
hmm
I'm going to
What did you
start,
think of Kaori Sakamoto, silver medalist?
man, what a powerhouse.
Very powerful, lots of
She is
speed.
just like, yeah. Let's see. I enjoyed her more once she finished jumping. Like everyone, once you finish the technical, then you can kind of relax and get into the program more. I think she's a great character. I like to watch her coordinate with the other skaters and everything. I think that she's really great. The music is good. I
All
liked her.
that jazz was the
Yeah,
free skate.
I liked
Yeah.
her costume. I'm gonna get all technical on you. I felt the skirt
Like
was a
it.
little bit long. Um,
Okay.
uh, the glove thing, I know some people love them, some people don't love them, but it goes with all that jazz, for sure. But she's very secure.
hmm
She's just like she's a Midori Ito. She's just like, I hate to say it, but balls to the wall. Like, I can only imagine watching her. I would be so intimidated on ice with her because it'd be like, whoa. I can see that it resonates through the TV, and I think she's adorable. I love that she doesn't fit the criteria of your typical kind of Japanese or Chinese skater with the black hair, this look. She's got the trying to work the blonde hair going on. She's
Yeah.
yeah, and I like that about her. I think she sees it and says, "Well, I'm gonna set myself apart." But she's just like she's a beast. She's a beast out there.
She is,
And
yeah.
it's
I
like,
mean her opening double axel in both programs is just it always sets the tone, I think. But in general, I think for the short program, she had a pretty big technical mistake. She
yeah,
did a
yeah,
double instead of a triple. I
yeah,
believe it was a double
yes,
flip, triple
yeah,
toe.
yeah,
And another thing about her in both programs is she does triplettes. She has one in the short and two in the free skate.
yeah.
And from a technical standpoint, she has a very, very clear inside edge takeoff. So that's a
I
flex.
wouldn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, and so it's interesting looking at her scoring because she does not receive any edge calls or any little exclamation points, and she receives plus threes across the board from the judges. So I think
Now,
coming in as Japanese number one, you can really see the political sway swinging in her favor with
yeah,
those calls, whereas
yeah,
some other skaters are getting marked for the same one, and hers
right.
is very clear in real time. I was looking for it at
Uh,
the arena since I was there in person, and yeah, I think it's something to note about her scoring.
mhm.
But in general, for
Does she
I
do it really
think
fast, the change?
No, I would say
Or
it's
is
like a
it
pretty
pretty clear?
big,
It's a
clear
pretty,
inside edge. Yeah. But
yeah.
she hasn't been getting called on it for years now.
Mhm.
So I think, there's
Do you
the
find it
judges. the judges are they're doing something.
They're doing something, or do you find it the placement of where she's doing it that is a little bit more difficult for the judges to even look back on it?
I'm sure that they strategically place
Mhm.
it so that it's maybe not so obvious, but there's so many cameras in
Yeah,
this day and age for the technology. So the tech panel has access to every angle if they really want to. So
yeah,
it's interesting to see who they really harp on and who they don't.
yeah.
But yeah, I would say her free skate, she also landed everything. I think maybe there was a couple
There was a couple of
cues.
wobbles. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah. But
triple
the All
oh,
That Jazz did really light up the crowd.
yes.
That and
Mhm.
Alyssa's Free Skate, the disco program, both of those had the crowd completely on its feet. It was like the energy of the music in the arena on
Yeah.
top of the fact that they were just landing everything. They're both, it's interesting, they're both, I would say, a little bit more unrefined in movement. They're like very powerful
Yes.
skaters.
Yeah.
And so very different from some of the more like elegant, like super polished
Yeah.
skating from other
Yes.
countries. But
Lady.
those two, just the speed that they garner, especially live in person,
Yeah.
Kaori is definitely one of the top skaters for how extremely
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some softer skaters than others. You know, that Nina from Belgium. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, I mean, she is like she amazes me. I think she has something really special with her.
Hmm.
Um, her jumps, she's like a little Sasha Cohen a little bit with her flexibility for sure. Her it's extreme. And I love to watch that. You know, I loved her red plain dress. Her last rotation is on its way down of the jump, which
Hmm.
um makes it very iffy. But I think she has a lot of potential. The funny thing about her in one of the interviews, uh, someone said to her about the music choice is from what is the name of that show? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it right now.
Is it Handmaid's Tale?
That's Handmaid's Tale,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
You know, and she said that she never saw it. And I found that just
Hmm.
mind-blowing that you skate to something that you have no idea even what you're, I mean, you could skate to like Friday the 13th and not know what it's from. You know what I mean? It's so mind
Yeah.
to me, but she wore a red dress, which does represent, and it's a very good series. I don't know if I would skate to it because of the impact of the drama of the series, but I found
Hmm.
that so fascinating that how could you skate to a piece of music that you have no idea what it represents and the
That's
power?
so true.
Yes,
Also, as I remember talking to you in one of our earlier the podcast interview I did with you, you talked about how when you skated to Dr. Zhivago, like you were the character and you
yes,
eat, breathe, sleep
yes,
who you're trying to portray on the ice.
yes.
And so yeah,
Like,
I would it
it's
is
a
very interesting
doing,
when skaters
it,
don't
yeah,
do the
like
research.
like Isabeau doing the, breakfast at Tiffany's, with
Yes.
the dress and the hair, she fit that tiny little frame and that criteria and the soft, light delicateness on her feet. You
Hmm.
know, people really resonate with that kind of a stuff.
Yeah.
They get it.
Tells a
And
story. Hmm.
yes, that's the art in figure skating that
Yeah.
people want so bad. They want to feel it, they want to taste it, they want that creative side to it. And even with the disco music or the cabaret, people know that music, younger and older generation, that they can connect with it.
Hmm.
I mean, and to me, that's so important. But I do like her skating.
It's true. She is also interesting enough when I look at her slow motion replays for her jumps. She's one of the only skaters that actually doesn't pre-rotate. So we don't have any clear set criteria or rules, I believe, in skating for the tech
Honestly.
panel in terms of when your tap hits the ice and
Mhm,
you leave it to start to rotate.
mhm.
The classic old school way of,
Delaying
the
the
way
jump.
skating has been pre, I would say like early 2000s,
Mhm.
was that you tap in the ice and you go all the way up and then you start to turn.
Turn.
And then now I would say in the last decade, we have a lot of skaters that are pre-rotating. So their tap is actually spinning for about a half rotation on the ice before they lift off.
Yeah.
And from that perspective, it draws this interesting question of what is short or cheated on a jump. Because if a skater like Nina, who is going all the way up before rotating and
Mhm.
landing at a quarter,
Right.
is that not better or worse than a skater that pre-rotates half a rotation and then is all the way around backwards without
Yeah,
that carrot?
that's really
So
hard to
it's
say.
interesting. And so she had quite a few unders called in her protocol for the free skate. So her
Mhm.
score was just like a little bit lower than it could have been with how good of a performance and a clean program she skated. And that program is beautiful in the red
Yeah,
dress.
yeah,
But yeah, you see other skaters who are not getting the calls, but maybe are pre-rotating. So I think something that the tech panel needs to make more clear in this
yeah,
just day and age of skating so that it's more fair and equal for all of the skaters. Uh,
definitely. Yeah,
but man, she has such gorgeous step sequences in both those programs. She does Swan Lake for the short and
yeah, yeah.
Handmaid's Tale for the
Yeah,
free.
beautiful
Yeah.
hair in place, which
Hmm.
I'm a big person about. I'm not a fan of the loose, relaxed hair. I think when you're on the ice, people really need to see your frame in your
Hmm.
face. And uh, I, I, I think she's packaged very well, and I think she can go very far, definitely. But this is a big
Strong
thing
skater.
about the technical. I learned axle where you throw the leg all the way through
Hmm.
step up into it. And
Yes.
now, coaching and everything, a lot of coaches are saying, well, we don't do that anymore. We tuck behind. And I just
Yeah.
don't, I'm like, but that's not an axle then. We did delayed axles, and nobody does a delayed axle anymore. It's really crazy. But,
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
with you. I
I'm,
like the step
I'm
through.
old school. I'm old school. I'm old school. The Swiss girl, Kimmy.
Kimmy
Okay.
Repond. Hmm.
Miss Robin Wright Penn, Miss Top Model, gorgeous, beautiful hair, beautiful face. I mean, does
Hmm.
she date the Italian guy who's 6'4" because she is tall? It is just unbelievable. I was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if they're together because they're both really tall.
They are
So,
tall.
I mean, so tall. It is unreal. And you don't even realize how tall she is till she does a spin and her arm just goes even more. Beautiful skater. The
Hmm.
world's tiniest jumps I've ever seen. I mean, really, I mean, that's how
Yes.
it reads on there. I was very proud of her though. She had two really bad falls right off the bat of her program. And I was like, and you heard the Boston audience, like, come on.
They pumped her up. They got her going. And it was so sweet because she went and she landed a double axel, I believe, after
Yeah.
that. It
And
was
they
like
were
a
like,
double axel, double
wow.
toe. And everyone was cheering so hard for her. And it got her through the rest of the program. She was able to get it back together
Yeah.
and land everything.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
was sweet.
she's a she's just beautiful. But I wonder, it is very strange to see such an incredibly, I mean, you are tall, but I mean, I believe she's taller than you.
I think she is too. It's also interesting. She is 18 now, I believe. And she's definitely, I think, grown a lot in the last season. So with her jumps, like sometimes not quite going right, particularly this season, I think the growth could have something to do with that because your center of gravity changes so much as you keep
Yep.
shooting taller.
She,
And it
she's
seems like she's had a growth spurt because she's always been very like long lined.
yeah.
But now that she's a young woman, she's kind of going through that stage of her life. Definitely taller. But it's so beautiful how she uses her lines on the ice. Like there's really no
Yes.
awkwardness, which can be really easy to have when you have long arms and long legs. And she is so graceful and very
Yeah.
elegant. And I was very impressed watching live how fast she was and how much ice she covered because I know as a taller skater, even if you're skating at the same speed as everyone else, but they're shorter than you, they look faster on screen, particularly.
Mhm.
So I remember having so many people tell me, I needed to skate faster and I looked kind of slow on TV. And I would be like, I'm matching everyone
Right,
on all of our
right,
practices and everything.
right.
And it's really that height with the cameras. And she was very fast and she had great ice coverage and her
Yeah.
choreography is so well done for her. It's very
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, she did a clean short program as well. I thought she should have maybe even marked up just a little bit because it was a beautiful program.
Yeah, and I
But
and I really like um she's just very soft and very gentle.
mm,
And
very refined.
yeah, it's really interesting to see what's how she's going to progress with
Hmm.
it. I hope she stops crying. Sorry, that sounds horrible, but and really can find her groove because she really is extraordinary out there, beautiful. And I
Yes, she
think I
is.
I love her hair. I loved her costumes. I good choices of music. I appreciate that. And she's just, you know, just not your average skater you see out there. And I love that actually.
Hmm.
They do.
Yeah, she brings such great quality to the women's field, so I'm excited to continue watching her. She does need to make sure she keeps an eye on her Lutz edge because sometimes it also flips inside.
Mhm.
So
It's so easy to
Kimmy,
do, though.
come on.
It's so easy
It's
talking to
it's easy
yourself.
for that to happen, but we got to keep the flips and the Lutzes separate. We got to do it, ladies.
But they're
Love
like
it.
twin sisters. So let's
Okay.
talk about Amber.
Okay, Amber. Let's go Amber Glenn next.
Oh, Amber. Okay. I know
Short
she has
program,
fun.
triple axel fall right off the bat.
Yeah.
Tough. But she came back and skated the rest of the program really well. Triple
Yes.
flip, triple toe, triple loop. Lost a little bit of steam, I think, during the step sequence. I felt like she needed to push a little bit harder and just
Mm,
like be all in with the speed. But yeah, that unfortunately that triple axel put her lower
mm.
with the fall. I think it was a little under as well.
So here's my question to you. Do you feel she really needed to do that triple axel in the short? If you were her coach and maybe, you're out there watching the other competitors, seeing what they're doing beforehand and say, you need this triple axel or just stick with the triple triple. Let's do a clean short. You don't need it. Let's just save it for the long. What is your opinion on that?
I think she should do what she's been training all season because you kind of get that adrenaline practice to
Mhm,
know how to handle everything. And since she's been competing that triple axel in both programs all season and she's been really successful with it, I think they were right to go for it in the short. I
okay.
don't think she needs the triple axel. I think if she does a clean program with the triple triple and the double axel, she is also going to be right up there. The triple axel puts her over the edge against the other ladies since they don't have triple axels. So I understand her strategy with
And,
that.
and more points
Um,
for the
uh,
axle. She gets more points.
she gets more points, yes. So with that, totally like her going for the triple axel, very respectable in both programs.
Mhm,
She was hesitant on it though. She's been hitting it really well all season in the
mhm.
morning because I watched the practices before the short program.
Right?
She put the music on. Well, the music plays for each skater, and she went for the triple axel and
Mhm,
missed it in the practice in the morning. And I'm
mhm,
sitting there thinking, maybe you should save this, like the pressure of skating it with the music
mhm,
for the actual short program later, rather than try to maybe spend the adrenaline in practice in the morning.
mhm.
And she ended up missing it in the competition as well. So I don't know what her strategy is for practice versus competition in terms of conserving that stress that you want to hit and
Right.
spike when you need to, but um, I think also if she doesn't do the triple axel and she just puts in a double, then
Mhm.
what's the next hardest element in the program? The triple flip, triple toe combo. And then she's going to have that extra pressure on that. So for her, it's more mental than it is physical. Um, so I say go for the triple axel. She's done it so well all season.
I wasn't so sure. Like there was a part of me that felt like you didn't need it. Like,
Hmm.
girl, you didn't need it. And then there was a part of me that makes sense of what you're saying. Of course, if you're trained to do something like that, but I'm going from my perspective of like when I competed, when I did worlds, we did not have set plan that I was going to do triple X, triple toe. And I remember before I skated, Richard saying to me, if the first one feels good, just go for it. It was not like, no, but in my head, I was like, I'm doing this, like I felt it, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a mind game in it. I mean, her long, I was really proud of her. And I know she seemed super intense. Um, you wanted her to feel like Alysa Liu, a little bit, a little bit more relaxed, but I think she's very hard on herself. I mean, her body is so in shape. She's so trained. It's like incredible. And, she's a powerhouse out there, but I feel that she's very rushed. She's very focused to like, I need to do all this. I need to do all this. And
Hmm.
it projects out there. And I mean, I'm still very proud of her. She's 25 out there and she's rocking and she had those mistakes, but she still fought through that long program, and I know the feeling when you mess up on something, I'm sure in the short when she fell in that triple axel, like you said, when she got to her footwork, she seemed out of steam and everything. I'm sure it was still replaying in her head
Oh yeah.
because, oh yeah, you're like, shit, 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 the whole time. Like, so and people, we tend to lean when we see the people struggle and they give the fight back. I know she did fight and, I'm proud of her. I think it's hard. It's never easy when you're a little bit more of a veteran of the sport and all these young, fresh, new kids are coming up with endless adrenaline and, you know, it's commendable that you're out there still doing it. And she really still is the only one doing a triple axel out there. When I watch the other girls, I think some of the Japanese girls have the possibility to do the triple axel, but some of the skaters, I won't say names, I can see on their double, it's not going to happen.
Mm.
Yeah. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, okay, well, what else are you going to bring to the table? This isn't, the men's event is so extreme. Ilian set the bar so high. I don't even believe anybody will ever even really get close to it for many years because it's just beyond. And with the women, unless the Russians come in, we haven't really that much evolved besides putting incredibly tons of more elements into a 4 minute, 10-second program that's so jam-packed that there's barely any skating in between. Like
Hmm.
literally. I mean,
It's true. You see some programs where it's just jump pattern after jump pattern. So
yeah.
I think the harder jumps that you do, the
Mhm.
more that comes out. But right now we're kind of sitting in an environment, an atmosphere of most women are just doing the triple triple combination and they're keeping the double axles. Of course, we'll see what happens when the Russians come back into play, but and I think that there's some juniors right now from Japan, from different countries that are trying to do the quads and the triple axel as well. So, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
we're gonna see, but it is rare for women skating.
Mhm.
Amber is so athletically gifted and she has great technique on that axle to be able to land it. So
Beautiful. She has that pop.
I have no doubt that she'll be back next season with bam, triple axle all over again.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think the free skate was a pretty good free skate for um, what she did. She had two mistakes. I believe she popped two things.
Yeah.
She did a single
Yeah.
axle in her
Yeah.
combo and then
And then
a double flip, I believe, later. Yeah. So that was tough. I think for her, her challenge is really in that second half of the program, the mental strength to stay focused and just
yeah.
do it on the jumps.
It's one
And
thing to say like, oh, forget about it. I made a mistake. You don't.
no, and I think
True,
she
but you
needs
don't.
that, I need to focus one element at a time. And
Yes.
I've talked to her about this on different occasions where she has expressed to the media that it's the second half of the program that she needs the most focus for to continue with skating and delivering. And she sometimes loses the focus halfway through. And I think we saw that here. She has competed similarly all season. So I know she came into Worlds with this undefeated, all these titles, gold
Yeah.
at both of her Grand Prix, gold at the Grand Prix final, gold at nationals. And that's a lot of pressure and expectation for her to follow through with
Oh,
a
yeah.
gold at Worlds, which I do think if she had skated two clean programs, she totally would have gotten the gold.
Mhm.
But she also hasn't skated two clean programs at any of those events in the
Mhm.
fall or nationals. There were always at least one or two mistakes,
Makes sense, yeah.
technically within her program. So with that in mind, she skated very similarly
Mhm.
here. And when the other ladies all skate well and skate clean programs, she kind of ended up where she was supposed to end up in that stack. She definitely has all the potential. If she can skate the clean program, she will definitely clinch that win.
Yeah.
But so wonderful to watch always. She's
Oh
the
yeah.
perfect balance of elegant and strong, powerful, athletic skater at the same time. And that's a very unique quality.
Mhm.
And she really stands out when she skates, especially in a group of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to shake her and just be like, stop thinking and just skate because you got it. Like
Yes.
don't let your mind take over you. Just, I mean, she's so trained. I mean, you can see there's just not an ounce of fat on her. She's so prepared. But I do believe the overthinking and overfocus even actually can hurt you sometimes. And then you have someone like Alysa Liu who came out and just, I don't mean this bad, like, but just didn't think at all. She just skated. Like we did,
Yes.
we were like 11 and 12 with no pressure, no worry, no nothing. And, I'm just going to put my hair in a ponytail and just go skate and do a cartwheel. So it's so crazy watching this right now. I don't even know like how to
Yeah.
comprehend it.
She knows how to they she Alyssa knows how to zone in. So something Amber's still working on figuring out, and hopefully she gets there next season, Olympic season. But pretty good track for
Yes.
this next season. Top five in the world, not bad at all. Well, what about Isabeau Levito from the
So
US? She's in
Isabel.
fourth place.
Oh, yes, yes. Let's talk about Isabel. I got some notes on her. Let me put my little notes up. Okay. All right. The
So
fairy. That's what I know
yeah,
her as, the
she is a
fairy.
fairy.
Is so like I picture her like from Disney going to flower to flower to flower to flower. She's so delicate and beautiful out there. Beautiful music choices. Love that. Clean
Mhm.
hair, barely any makeup, really working the youth. And it really projects out there. I have to say, very smart call. And also I love the short dress. The long dress is so incredibly beautiful up close. I'm not sure if it projects as well on the TV until the camera's up close. Um, but I find it very elegant, extremely dainty, and very feminine, which is so important in skating to hold that element also as women skaters out there, that we are also slightly ballerinas. We are performers out there. And you know, I I enjoy her skating a lot. I'm a little bit conflicted with her jumps at times.
Mhm.
The dip, I call it the dip, before a lot of her triples. This dip thing she's got going on.
Mm.
Skaters used to do it in the past too.
The
She
posture. Yeah.
He doesn't do it all the time, which is really, she does it on her triples when she does a double toe after or something, she doesn't do it. I find it very, very interesting. I don't know if it's the long preparation going into it or exactly what it is. I've seen her sometime do it on the axle, but not all the time on the axle. And she has
Mhm.
such a beautiful back out there, and she's very soft with her hands, which is incredibly beautiful. And she's so youthful,
Mhm.
just naturally. And but that dip drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
sure
it's
if it's
true.
corrected though.
I think
She's
it's a little bit more obvious now too, because she's getting older, she's getting a little bit taller, she's looking more like a young woman on the ice now rather than little girl, which is more of the vibe that she had a couple seasons ago, even last season. Um, but she just slows down a lot during her jumps and
Mhm.
she leans forward completely, almost 90 degrees parallel to the ice. Her
Yeah,
free leg swings up on that flip and let's tap so that it's also 90 degrees
they're
onto the
tough.
ice and so the flow of her jumps they just don't really go very far as opposed to some of the more classic technique from other women on the ice it's just the
Yeah,
amplitude of their jumps are going straight back, they're
yeah.
beautiful in terms of the ice coverage, and hers are kind of more in one place, and so it gets more obvious as you get older. And I think live you can really see patterns wise with her jumps,
Mhm.
they're not carrying the same flow on the landings as
She's
the other
got
skaters.
she's got that teeter-totter effect going. And
Yes, yeah, totally. And it is completely separate from the rest of her skating, which is so elegant and so beautiful. And she has such great
Mm,
detail work and polish. Her
right.
toe point, her back posture, her head, her arms, her fingers, everything is so well placed. And then for the jumps, it just is the opposite in terms of like the aesthetic is not matching. And yeah, it's been that way for her, but it's I think a little bit more obvious this season.
I find like, at this point of her career and her extent of doing it like this always, that's not something that like, oh, well, we'll just find a new coach and, clean up her jumps. Once you got it and that's your thing and that's your rhythm, good luck on
It
trying to
is,
change.
yeah, it is hard to change at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in general, still always something that she can work on and is that posturing for her jumps. But also she skated very well considering she missed most of the season. I think she skated one Grand Prix. She was at Skate America, got the bronze medal.
Mm,
And then she was out for the rest of the season with a foot injury. So
right.
this is really the first time that we saw her this season was at Boston World
Right.
Championships.
Yeah.
And she landed everything in the short program, and she had the one fall in the free skate, opening fall on the triple triple, but came around and landed everything
Came
else.
around and
Yeah.
I,
So
I love any skater out there, whether they're my favorite or they're not my favorite. It doesn't even matter. When you fall and you have to get up and you still have to finish your program, it takes so much out of you. It takes like, I mean, I was like, I could cry right now thinking about it because I remember that feeling of having to pull your stuff back together real quick without a choice. And it's so hard because you can get on that rhythm of just not getting under your feet again and falling and falling and falling. I've done those performances where, you fall almost on everything and you just cannot get under your feet. It's so difficult. And I love when the skater comes back. I
I
really
do
do.
too.
I do
I do
too.
too.
I'm like,
I think she's another skater that had a couple of unders in both the short and the free that weren't
mm,
necessarily called, if you look at the slow motion replay. But also her Lutz edges, she definitely has a flutz, and that's tough. Uh,
yeah.
it's got to be
Mhm.
an outside edge. I think she's only receiving exclamation points though on her protocols.
Mhm.
Worlds in
Yeah,
Boston.
I find it very
Yes, Worlds.
confusing a little bit, and it's of uh what is seen and what is kind of looked the other way a little bit. And
Yeah,
I
it's
I do
interesting.
find a lot of people that I talk to are saying the same things.
Hmm.
And I do see a little bit of push and holdings, some people, this is the same stuff that went on when I competed.
Oh
And
yeah.
we would call
It's never
politics.
ending.
Yeah, and whether you put points or you decide not to do the points anymore or whatever, it's just the way the sport is constructed and it's, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. Where is it going to lead to in the next 10 years even?
Mhm.
How is everything going to be perceived? And is this going to still continue on to be this way? Or are there going to be new rules or different ways of approaching programs and things like that? I know now I received email about music rights and things for skaters. So, things are consistently trying to change and evolve in the sport, but I'm just not really, you know, really sure. I'm only looking at as who's my overall package out there and who's grabbing me and spiking my interest. You know what I mean? And making me fall in love with them in their
Yeah.
skating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
what about Mone Chiba from Japan? She is our bronze medalist.
Nice.
Very, very fun short program. She has the little ponytail, the pink dress, and lots of sass.
Chiba.
Yeah, Mona Chiba.
Okay, so fab. I wrote fab. Okay,
Love
yeah,
the notes.
yes. I had this. She's a little doll.
Mhm.
She's a little doll.
She
She's a
is.
little doll out there. I mean, I love, she was the one in the red dress, kind of red.
Yes.
Oh, I love that dress. I mean, so feminine, so cute. I found her a little bit more serious in her long than her short.
Hmm.
Um, she reminds me of Christy Yamaguchi and Michelle Kwan a little bit for some reason. Yeah, I think she's fabulous. I think she's really she needs to be developed a little bit more, but that only comes with time, you
Mhm.
know, and practice. But I think she's a doll. She's
Yeah.
really, yeah.
I mean, talk about someone with excellent posture. Now, she
Her,
carries her back and her chin. It's beautiful. The entire program never breaks. I love watching her triple flip in particular because her
oh,
back stays like this the whole way. And she has such great flow and such great direction on her jumps.
yeah,
My only critique on her technique would be that the Lutz is a little iffy on the edge as well. So, these were not called on her protocol, but she for sure either goes flat or inside, a little bit more obvious in the free skate.
yeah.
So
She
that'd be
was
my
the
only qualm with Mona, but she's beautiful skating, and I loved her programs. She basically skated two clean programs at
yeah.
the event. I believe she got some unders in the free, some
Mhm,
Qs, but I love how her presentation is so outward and lifted to the audience.
mhm,
And she is so fast on the ice live,
mhm.
covers the ice so great. And just every position is very elegant. So I love her and I'm so
And
happy that she's on the
as
podium.
tiny as she is, she skates loud.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
refined and very polished at
Yeah,
this age is very impressive.
very impressive.
Mhm. What
And she,
about Wakaba
but she
Higuchi?
was the only girl who did any jumps with the arms up.
Oh, yes. Yes, she did do the rip on Lutz. She does it on her flip in the short program.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, oh, we're bringing that back. She was the only one who did it, so I give her kudos for that. I cannot even imagine doing this during a jump. Like literally.
I was a regular jump girl too.
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
mean, Brian Bolzano came out with his one arm thing, and I remember we would always try to do like a double Lutz like that. It was like, a bad night of drinking. How do you do that? Because
Oh
the
no.
centrifugal force, and Brian did it, and I loved when she did it because it was like, oh, nice. Someone brought that back in because the Russians were always, they were doing it so much that it was like every single jump that I literally felt, this is my conspiracy theory, like, did they find some kind of a technical thing of breaking the the wind basically by doing this, getting more lift and using their arms up of like cheating almost like because it was on every single jump.
It
I
was
was
on every jump. Yeah.
yes,
I think
yes,
it's
I
just
was
something that you get used to, and then it
yeah,
becomes your
yeah,
new technique.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy.
Uh,
I know. But then at that point, if you get used to it and it is just your regular technique, then it's
mhm,
not really fancy anymore. I don't think you should get extra points for it. But if
right.
you do it on one jump, I think that's like, oh, the little flair where you're like, okay, higher
Yeah.
GOE.
What
But
about is it
Wakaba
yeah,
Higuchi from
yeah.
Japan. So she was actually one of my favorites. I would
Mhm,
have had her hot take second on the podium,
mhm.
for just like the technical that she has, and also her skating is so refined and mature and polished. So I'm a huge Wakaba fan. My
And very
personal
pretty
podium
girl.
would have been Alysa Wakaba and then Mona. What were
Interesting.
your thoughts on Wakaba?
I liked her dress.
Mhm.
I was conflicted with her music choices because she used music from Moulin Rouge and then went into the music from Stranger Things, which has nothing to do.
No correlation.
We went from Broadway to sci-fi. So I was conflicted with that and felt again that this person has no idea what they're skating to. And it really,
Mm,
as an artist, it disturbs me.
I see.
Sorry to say. Yes, it really,
Fair.
if you cannot have some kind of uh, reason to picking the music, not only just because you like it, but you cannot really, the sound of it sounded very similar. But if you know music and especially music from Moulin Rouge, which was so big and popular, and Stranger Things, which is one of my favorite series, I was like, what is going on here? This is a cluster, and I don't know how to
Mm.
do it. I don't think she knows that. It was like somebody gave her the music and said, here. And then her costume had absolutely nothing to do with the music, but I love the costume. I thought it was a beautiful costume. I love the colors. And she's beautiful. She's a beautiful skater. She has a long jumper. That's what it came off on TV. Like she covers ice when she
Mhm.
jumps. That's what I saw. And I just felt, again, she wasn't connected as much to the program and the music till the very end again. Finished the jumps, and then she went into the footwork sequence, and it was just like, then I saw some really beautiful skating, but her choreography did go with the music choices. Whoever did the choreography did do a very good job at it. So that was my only thing on her.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean that's a good take. I think when you choose music, it should make sense. Um, I really loved her short program to Dune. It was one of my favorite Dune cuts because I probably
I
saw at
thought
least seven or
everyone
eight
skated,
Dune
everyone skated
performances.
doing it world.
Everyone's skating to Dune this
Like
year. And I mean, I
somebody,
love it. It sounds great in the arena.
yeah,
But
yeah.
her Dune short program was pretty epic, and she opened with just such a strong, beautiful, huge double axel. She did the triple triple, triple flip, and then in the free skate, she also skated really well. I think her one um, like big mess up, which is not even too crazy, is she just undered a triple loop at the end of her free skate, I believe. So she kind of um, had a, I think her points would have been a little higher had she not done that little oopsie on the loop. She kind of flipped out of it. But the rest of the program was extremely solid. And what I really appreciate about her is she has correct edges on her jump takeoff. So that already puts her higher in my head. But also her jump technique is wonderful. Like she has great ice coverage. They're very aesthetically pleasing to watch. And then she just has hard content. She has the triple triples in both programs. Her skating is so fast and so athletic, but she's also so soft at the same time with that style. So she's a standout for me. And I really enjoyed watching her. So I think for me, watching someone
She's
like
very great.
Kaori, who is so fun to watch, but if you look at the technical of what they're doing and you compare them, I think Wakaba comes out stronger. I know that's politically not how Japan pushes these women. Kaori is three-time world champion, so she has that pull. But
Yeah.
I think for
And she's a
Boston,
powerhouse. She's a
yeah,
powerhouse too. I mean, I
yeah,
thought
I liked
the
Wakaba.
skirt was too long again. Uh, for the shorter girls, I understand the elegant of the long skirt, which is very beautiful. But if you don't have the long legs for it, I think it really cuts you up.
Mm.
Um, yeah. I mean, I'd rather see an old 80s skirt actually, and it's going to prolong their look a little bit longer. Um, the
Yeah.
chiffon work better and it flows beautifully. But on some of the girls, I felt the skirt was too long and just it would have made them look a little bit longer out there as a full package. Yeah,
Mhm.
Corey, she's very secure. She's a powerhouse too. I mean, there's a lot of powerhouses going
Mhm.
on here.
What did you
This
think of the Korean girls, Haein Lee and Chaeon Kim?
Hanley, a little bit unfinished movements, nice jumps, nice music choice. Um, uh, needs work.
She's a very willowy skater. I think she skated pretty well at this competition. The short program was a clean skate. She opened with that triple Lutz triple toe.
Yeah,
And I think her skating, she's so fast and she's so uh, elegant with her movement. She's more of a lyrical style. So it's always enjoyable to watch her. She does have an exclamation point on her triple flips, so she needs to make sure she's taking off that inside edge. Her free skate, I think there was a turnout at the very beginning of her program, kind of set the tone for the technical after that. She had an under on the triple Lutz triple toe she tried to put on later. But she has a beautiful skating style. I do really
enjoy.
like watching her, and I thought the energy and speed at the end of her free skate was actually really impressive because I don't know about you, but at the end of a free skate, like
I'm done.
I don't got that much gas left in the
See you
tank.
on Tuesday. I'm
So
done.
whenever I see skaters just like get that second, like that last 10-second wind, I'm like, yes, like you do that. Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. Um,
yeah.
what about Madeline from Canada?
Madeline
Sanchez?
Schizas, yes.
Hmm?
So Maddie did a clean short program. She skated to the Lion King.
I love that program. I'm sorry. I liked her costume. I um I think the commentators didn't love her as much, but I actually liked her. I think she's a little spitfire. I think she's incredibly adorable. Um, and they were saying a little bit that her facial expressions is everything is very like timed and it's programmed and well, that's kind of also how we are too. I mean, you can't be smiling into a triple X.
No.
We have to
Yeah.
turn it off at some point. But I think I love the gold dress. I thought it was really, really cute. And she had a lot of energy. I liked the dress again. Um, she had some mistakes, but she did pull herself out of it, like a
Mhm.
lot of skaters. So she did come back strong. And she needs a little work on her jumps. Yes, she's still a little bit young. Good spins, really low on the sit spins, which is kind of my thing. I love a sit spin. So yeah, but
Yeah. I think
definitely something to look out for. Yeah.
Maddie has beautiful jumps when she hits them. She has great jump technique. And she is a very petite spitfire on the ice. I think you're so right about that. I think the thing about Maddie is her posture sometimes she kind of hunches the shoulders. So the dresses that she wears needs to cater to kind of like help her look a little bit more covered on those shoulders. And then I think for her just coaching team and everything, they really need to kind of give her the choreography that will help accentuate the pretty movement that she has and not
Beautiful
more
fingers.
so on sometimes that posture. And I
Yeah.
think the Lion King program, as fun as it is, kind of accentuates a little bit more of her curving in or like lifting the shoulders. And so I just need somebody to go up to her and be like, swan neck, like
Yes.
relax the shoulders down.
Just
Uh,
great.
free skate was
I like her fingers.
beautiful. She has great fingers. Yeah, she
Yes,
kind of
she definitely gets this going on.
yes,
I
she has
definitely,
that. She needs to kind of like fully stretch out
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
But yeah, opening her free skate with the double lutz, triple toe was tough to kind of
yeah.
start the program out. And then she did the rest of her program well. I think there was maybe an under, but missing that triple definitely
Yeah, there were a few little
did her in.
mistakes, but it
Yeah.
was, and she's a cutie. I think she's definitely somebody to look out for once she gets more into her mold
Hmm.
of how to produce that out there on the ice, big
Hmm.
time. But cutie, definitely
Hmm.
a cutie. Yeah, yeah. And keep an eye out. I think she could be sneaky.
If she
Sneaky.
skates well, if she skates well, yes. Chayeon Kim from Korea also skated. Chayeon Kim, she had a mistake in the short program. Unfortunately, her triple Lutz triple toe was two-footed and under. And then in the free skate, she also bailed out of a triple Lutz,
I do
was her
have
big
it.
mistake.
She had the light brown dress. I do have it.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. I wrote, I loved her. Um, she was the one who was so serious in her long. She was very serious. She's very pretty, but she just did not connect with herself, the audience, anything. It was like Alysa Liu said, a program run through, but Alyssa's still connected with the audience. But I felt she doesn't have flow out of her jumps. She
Hmm.
really, yeah,
She was a little shaky, I think, in the skate.
I liked her music. She used a piece in the second half of the program, which is from Cirque du Soleil, from the movie Worlds Away. And I actually skated to that for something, and I loved it because it's a beautiful piece of music. She's young, she's
She
pretty,
is. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think she has a lot of potential. If she skates clean programs, she'll definitely be up there. When she hits her jumps well, they are beautiful, and she has all the correct edges and everything, which again, props her up in my book. But unfortunately, here in both programs, she made too significant of mistakes to kind of be held up, and so uh, not her best competition. I feel like her jumps were kind of squeaked out here, which is not usually how she performs them. So at least she was fighting for everything, and she was like on her feet for both programs. But I hope that she comes back strong next year because she's very pleasant to watch. She's very fast on the ice. And I think that she has great skating. So we will
I,
see.
I, I think she will. I really do overall think all of the girls are, they're fighters, number one, and I
Mhm.
think that they're really going to attack the things and, this world's couldn't have been more exciting, really. And
Totally.
something I haven't seen for a very long time and something
Hmm.
very inspiring. I mean, I even went and skated on Monday and I'm sore today from because I had like this extra fire in me, like, ooh. And then I got
Love
woke up
that.
this morning and I was like, oh God, my
That's so
back.
funny. I love that. Well, did you watch any other skaters in your book that we
Um,
missed?
I watched, no, that was all the ladies I got to see. I did watch the men. I love all the men are just ridiculous. I mean, my heart goes with the French guy. I absolutely love him to death. I love his skating.
Yeah,
I was talking with a friend about him and I said, the fact that he's been through they said he's been through a depression and going through things and I can see that when he skates he's very emotional and you know people feel that people and I could really feel that from him and he's a beautiful skater, really beautiful. And I mean I'm so proud of all the guys out there are just ridiculous. I mean, they're so good. I'm like, what am I watching here? I was like sitting on the edge of my bed, like, this is my mom called. I was like, don't call me right now. I'm watching the men's. It's amazing. They're in a league of their own. What can I say? And the pairs they were so good. I mean, I loved all the pairs and the ice dancers. It's like just translucent into another place. And I think the US is really strong right now. We just gotta hold
I do
on.
too. Yeah, it was an exciting world for sure. Really quick, I'll run through another lady that I watched who was in one of the earlier groups who I really, really loved. Her
Okay.
name was Sofia Samodelkina from Kazakhstan. Nicole, I think you would really
Tell me
like her,
about
so you should definitely look her up. But she just had a beautiful short program. It was such great choreography, so many little details, so many quick feet. She looked so graceful and so powerful at the same time. And she was so fast and covered the ice well. Her jumps were great. And I think that there were maybe some unders in the slow motion replays, so they docked her really hard, whereas, skaters in later warm-ups, they did not. So that was tough. I think she should have honestly been in the top six after the short program and in that final warm up based off of her short program skate. She is wonderful. And I remember watching her a couple years ago when she was like 13 or 14 in the Junior Grand Prix. She actually used to represent Russia, but she switched to Kazakhstan in the last season or two. And it's lovely to watch the trajectory of her being so little and standing out at that time as very like graceful and very promising to now her being a young adult, and she was a standout of the skaters in my opinion for women's watching live. Only thing about her is also that Lutz edge definitely looks like it starts to flip over to inside, so she needs to make sure that that gets corrected and takes off the outside edge. But she was definitely a surprise, great competitor to watch for me, and I totally think she should have been way higher in the standings. Niina
it.
Petrykina, also from
Yeah.
Estonia, who's the European champion, she made a pretty significant mistake in the short program. She popped her triple triple combo.
Yeah.
So that kind of put her lower. But then in the free skate, she skated so well. I think she only had one mistake, a flip out at the end of the program. But it
Yeah,
was a really
Nina,
strong program.
I do have Nina in my notes here because there's two Ninas, right?
Yes, yes, two Ninas. So
So Nina, she's a very aggressive skater.
yes, very
I like
powerful,
her notes.
passionate.
Her spins need a little work. But she's definitely a powerhouse. I didn't love her dress. Uh, I'm very picky about dresses, as you can tell. I thought
Love it,
it,
Nicole.
it it was very pretty, but I thought it didn't flatter her with her tone of skin and hair. I think those things are so important to me because they read so much of how you can completely destroy someone's look out there, or you can make it just beautiful.
Mm.
And the dresses are very different than from my era of dresses with shoulder pads and appliques and different things. And there's so much detail that goes into it that they're extraordinary. But when you're sitting high in the stands, you don't see it. You
Yeah.
really don't. That's the thing. And that's why I think like Nina's red dress, you couldn't really see that it was sheer red see-through until the camera was up close on it. Um, but the simplicity of it read so good with her color hair and her skin tone, big, beautiful back, because she has a beautiful back. And most skaters, 80% of the time when you're watching them, you see their back. So I
Hmm.
love a big open back. That's always been really important. And those things for me go into play and also matching with the music. But yeah, she's strong. She really
Hmm.
attacks out there. I do see that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'd be scared of her too unpracticed.
That's so funny. No, I think if Nina skates, the two clean program, she's definitely very competitive in the field. And she is lovely to watch live. Absolutely. Uh, she's another skater that skated to Dune in the free skate. And I think for me, something that you would probably appreciate, Nicole, like on that note of just the whole package of what feeling you get from the programs. I was fascinated by the skaters that chose powerful music, that kind of drama that kind of gets
Yeah,
everyone into what you're skating to, maybe even regardless of how well you're skating to it, versus something a little bit lighter, maybe less striking in music and the sound quality. It didn't do quite the same effect for the audience. And as a judge, if you're sitting there and the crowd is on its feet before the skater even finishes its spin, of course that's going to affect you of your own feeling of
right.
how great this program was and how great the skater's presentation was. So I thought that was just kind of a fascinating thing to watch. I think picking the right music to be kind of like a winning free skate or a winning short program is also strategy just as much
Yeah,
as what you're wearing on the ice and the choreography and all of that. So
never
it was
think
interesting.
that.
And I think if you're gonna pick a lyrical program and skate to something soft and pretty, you have to be amazing at it for people to feel the same effect. So if there's even like a beat off or something like that, or you're just not quite soft enough or something for a lyrical program, it doesn't draw the same feelings in the crowd as, you know,
Yeah,
all that jazz from
uh,
Chicago.
a program can actually overpower a skater if
Hmm.
they can't hold up to it. And
Yes. Yeah.
figure skating. It is a sport. This is a competition. It is a sport. But, people want to enjoy to watch it. The fact that we are performing to music is almost like when we want to escape reality, we go watch a movie to be kind of transported somewhere else. And when I watch a skater, I want to, Isabeau taking me to breakfast at Tiffany's,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was exciting to watch it and to see the character. And just make me forget about my own life problems and let me see the beauty of you promoting this music that hopefully you picked and you're going to give it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's so important as an artist and um a figure skater, I believe, and then yeah, we have our technical and all that kind of a stuff that we do. And it is a competition out there. It isn't a free for all. Otherwise, it's not a competition. We're out there to compete against each other the best that we can. When it's time to do the show, that's when you have your fun.
Hmm.
That's when you let things go. But this is a sport of competition and it's individual, and we have to be somewhat of our own, tap into our own narcissism character to promote that out there. It goes hand in hand with it for sure. So I think it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I would say that's it for our women's recap. You have any other last minute notes you want to add?
No, I just
Cool.
I I really don't have anything bad to say about anyone. I mean, I
Yeah.
always,
It was a great competition.
yeah, it really was a great competition. And, like I said, I commend all the skaters going out there and competing is already is enough. It's a lot.
It's
And
hard. It's extremely difficult. So mad respect to everyone that was out there and made it
Uh,
to Worlds and competed at Worlds. It is one of the most difficult sports to do, and these skaters were skating in an arena of 10,000 screaming people, and
so
that focus that's needed at that level, it is truly incredible. So here we
hopefully,
go, going into the Olympic
yeah,
season next. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I hope it puts skating, back on the map. And if I could thank the Boston people for being there for the skaters, not just for the US skaters, but for all the skaters, is really so amazing and so beautiful. I literally wanted to
Yeah.
cry when I would see a skater fall, and then when they would land their next jump, how they would cheer them on, or even after,
Yeah.
like, come on, you could like literally, you could hear on the TV people saying, come on, you got this, like this kind of, it was
It's
just
true. Yeah.
like, wow, wow. I
It
was
was
amazed.
awesome. So hopefully Boston gets another World sometime soon
Yeah,
because I think
yeah,
all the skaters really enjoyed the environment as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think they felt it in the love, and good luck in the next place.
Yeah, exactly. All
So,
right. Well, signing off the women's recap. Uh, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you about the next event later.